Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Ohio State didn't even win the Big Ten East last year, but the Buckeyes still snuck into the college football playoff and nearly took down the eventual national champions in Georgia, falling to the Bulldogs 42-41. Ohio State now comes in at number 4 in our way too early Gridiron Expert Top 25. And today, we're taking a look at the Buckeyes' schedule and what they may have to do to find themselves back in the college football playoff. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad that you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. And of course, check out everything down in the description below. We have so much exclusive content for you there, especially over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Because, guys, here at the Gridiron Expert, football, it never dies. The college football season never ends here at the Gridiron Expert, and we want you to take advantage of that. We want you to become a part of our GE Nation and what we are building here at this channel, building a community of people and fans that love college football as much as we do. Become a part of our team, become a part of our GE Nation, and let's talk some college football. So let's talk Ohio State football. Let's take a look here. Obviously, Ohio State, they made the playoff last year. It was great. The game against Georgia in the semifinals was absolutely unbelievable. But now, they lose a handful of key starters, namely their star quarterback in C.J. Stroud. So Ohio State's got a bit of a quarterback battle going on this offseason. More than likely, we would lean Kyle McCord's way to be the quarterback in Columbus. Whoever the quarterback's going to be does have talent. They've got Marvin Harrison Jr., they've got Emmanuel Ekbuka, they've got talent at the wide receiver position, and they're returning roughly 7 starters on defense. So despite the quarterback loss, which we've seen time and time again with elite teams, especially Ohio State is still projected to be a potential college football playoff team. But they're not alone atop the Big Ten anymore. Michigan has defeated the Buckeyes twice in a row, especially a beatdown in Columbus that we just saw this last year. They're not alone in the Big Ten. The schedule is a little bit tougher than people may think. You take a look at the schedule, guys. I will say that the first 3 weeks, I would imagine Ohio State will breeze through. And again, we'll predict Ohio State's record here in a few months. We're going to predict every single team's record heading into this upcoming college football season. So again, you do not want to miss out on that. Make sure to comment, subscribe, hit that notification button so you don't miss out on any of those predictions coming forward. But first 3 weeks, Indiana, they beat 56-14 last year. Youngstown State, Western Kentucky shouldn't be much of an issue. Then they go on the road to Notre Dame, so they're returning the favor. The Fighting Irish kicked off the season in Columbus last year. Ohio State won that game 21-10. Now Ohio State goes to South Bend. Interesting game, though. Potential top 10 matchup. Battle between two teams that could make the college football playoff in 2023. An interesting battle here because Notre Dame does have Sam Hartman at quarterback. You know, in that game at Ohio State last year, Ohio State had some questions at the quarterback position. No one really knew how well the offense was going to go. We knew that Marcus Freeman, first real game as head coach of the Fighting Irish, considering he was the head coach of the bowl game, but the first real season with him, how was that going to go, especially from an offensive standpoint? Notre Dame couldn't get much going, only mustering 10 points. But now it's in South Bend. Notre Dame's offense returns a lot of talent. The defense should be strong with the defensive minded of Marcus Freeman. This is a huge resume-boosting win for whoever gets it. And obviously, winning and playing in South Bend is not easy. And yes, I know many of you Ohio State fans will say, well, tell that to Stanford. Tell that to Marshall. And they beat Ohio State last year they beat Notre Dame last year in South Bend. Yes, different team now. And if you watch the way Notre Dame played down the stretch last year, they were playing some pretty dang good football. So this has a chance to be, again, a top 10, top 15 matchup in South Bend. One that Ohio State certainly cannot afford to overlook because a loss here would not hurt their Big Ten title chances, but it would hurt their college football playoff chances because more than likely one more loss down the stretch would eliminate them from playoff contention. So they have to be very, very mindful of this Notre Dame game, which will be one of the biggest games of the entire college football season. They get their bye week after that, so 4 games bye week, which means they have to play 8 straight games to close out the year. And for any team, that's not really ideal. You don't want to get your bye week too early. Bye week at least needs to be in October, but Buckeyes do not benefit from that. They come out of their bye week, and arguably they face their toughest stretch of the year, right? If you want to say there's a tough key game stretch, I would say it's right out of the bye week when they have to play Maryland, Purdue, Penn State, Wisconsin. So the month of October going to be very telling for Ohio State. They beat Maryland 43-30 last year. Again, I wouldn't expect Maryland to put up too much of a fight in Columbus. It's going to be a very difficult place to play, especially off a week of rest. But the offense could challenge Ohio State a little bit, just like they did last year. Very tight game into the fourth quarter. They go on the road to Purdue. Purdue dealing with a new quarterback, a new coach, so many changes. in West Lafayette. I wouldn't bank on another Purdue upset like we saw back in 2018, but still something to be mindful of. We've seen how Ohio State at times has fared against Big Ten West opponents. Then they played Penn State and Wisconsin. Those two games will be tough. Penn State, no slouch. If you've been watching our schedule previews, we have Penn State in our top 10 heading into 2023. One of the best running back duos in the country. Drew Allers expect to have a lot of high expectations heading into the year. And Penn State had Ohio State on the ropes last year, like Maryland, in the fourth quarter before Ohio State woke up and pulled away, winning 44-31. Now, that wasn't Happy Valley. Penn State now has to go to Columbus, but we've seen James Franklin's squads aren't really scared of Columbus. They're not scared of the Horseshoe. They have played Ohio State very, very tough and well on the road in recent years. If Penn State is an undefeated team at this point, a one-loss team at this point, this game will have major playoff implications. Will have major implications when it comes to the Big Ten East race. So a huge, huge game against Penn State. And a game that I don't think the Nittany Lions are just going to roll over and give to the Buckeyes. And then Ohio State goes to Wisconsin. And in recent years, we've seen Ohio State dominate Wisconsin teams, even though the Badgers have such great defenses. Last year, no exception. They beat the Badgers 52-21. But Wisconsin, a different team now. Luke Fickell, the new head coach, has been great in the transfer portal. They've got Tanner Mordecai in at quarterback. They've got Braylon Allen back at running back. Should be a stingy defense once again. You can see Wisconsin contending for a Big Ten West title in year one under Luke Fickell, and there would be no better way to start your tenure in Madison than with a big-time upset over a potential top 10, top 5 Ohio State team. Madison, not an easy place to play, especially at night. I presume this game would be at night. If Wisconsin living up to expectations and the new look offense is gelling under Luke Fickell, the Badgers could give Ohio State a tougher test than they have in years past. So that is a game you need to watch out for. So Penn State, Wisconsin, back-to-back, going to be tough for Ohio State. Not necessarily a cakewalk like maybe it has been in years past. The next 3 games I would expect to be relatively easy for the Buckeyes. At Rutgers, they beat the Scarlet Knights by 39 last year. Michigan State at home, they beat the Spartans by 29 last year. Minnesota, drawing them out of the West. Not going to be easy again, but the game is going to be at Columbus. Minnesota losing a handful of key starters from another solid bowl team under P.J. Fleck. Then, of course, Michigan. So, again, if you are following the Big Ten race, the top 3 teams in the Big Ten East are Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. So how those teams fare against each other will ultimately determine who wins that division. Also can determine who makes the college football playoff, depending on how those teams do. You look at the Michigan game, the game. Michigan finally ended the streak 2 years ago, getting the win in Ann Arbor. And then this last year, we said, okay, that's great, but Ohio State will probably take care of business in Columbus. And the opposite happened. Michigan dominated Ohio State, beating them 45-23 in Columbus on the road. So now the game's back in Ann Arbor. Michigan's got a returning quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. They've got Blake Corum back at running back. Harbaugh stuck around. Defense going to be strong again. Gone are the days of people just assuming that Ohio State's going to beat Michigan. Michigan has now proven they can beat Ohio State both in Ann Arbor and in Columbus. They've gotten that monkey off their back. They're not scared of the Buckeyes anymore. You could see Ohio State lose to Michigan for the 3rd straight year. And again, we're not predicting that, but this game is going to be tough. It always is. Rivalry week, always tough. But Michigan has shown they can beat Ohio State. And this year, with all the returning talent Michigan brings back from another college football playoff appearance, they could do it once again. And this game ultimately could have, obviously, playoff implications, but could determine who wins the Big Ten East. There's no doubt about it. So, huge, huge implications in the final week of the season. And again, it's big for Ohio State because we saw them fall to Michigan last year, and we're on the border of whether or not they were going to make the playoff or not. One other loss, whether it's to Notre Dame, Penn State, Wisconsin, and then plus the loss to Michigan, would eliminate Ohio State from playoff contention and could eliminate them, obviously, from Big Ten title contention. So this is a huge, huge game, guys. You look at Ohio State's schedule to wrap things up. Obviously, if I had to rank the 3 biggest games on the Buckeyes schedule, it would be Notre Dame, Penn State, and Michigan. Those are the 3 biggest games on the schedule, with maybe a little trap game in there in Madison at Wisconsin. 4 really big, big games for Ohio State that many would project the Buckeyes to win. But on the other side, I don't know if many would be surprised if they lost. Biggest storyline, of course, is going to be who gets the quarterback job and how they fare as a first-year starter. Huge year for Ryan Day. Some Buckeye fans getting restless after after what? I mean, making a national championship a few years ago, that's pretty dang good. Making the playoff last year, that was pretty dang good. Some Buckeyes fans are getting restless, though. They want to have an undefeated season. They want to win the Big Ten. They want to go win a national championship. This could be the year they do it, but the schedule does prove to be a little bit daunting. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. We want you to become a part of what we're building here at the channel. We want you to become a part of our GE Nation, where we talk college football with you 24/7, 365. The season never ends here at the Gridiron Expert. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.